Good morning and welcome to BOTB HQ in Parsons Green, South West London. My name is Christian Williams, a presenter here at BOTB, where we're here this morning to judge the latest midweek car competition, which ran from the 9th to the 15th of July 2020. And just before I hand over to Robin, once again, huge congratulations to last week's midweek car competition winner, Robert Miggles, winning that incredible brand new Land Rover Defender and £10,000 in cash. I'm now going to pass over to Robin Cumming from Onside Law, who will oversee the proceedings this morning.
My name's Robin Cumming from Onside Law, and I'll be overseeing the judging this morning. Firstly, I can confirm that the competition data has already been sent to the auditors Wilkins Kennedy. I would now like to introduce today's judges. First up, it's Matt Cannon.
Good morning, my name is Matt Cannon. I'm a senior county referee and footballer.
Thanks, Matt. If you could now use the secure link provided and mark on the screen where you think the centre of the ball should be, and then we'll come back to you at the end for you to justify your position and for a final panel decision. Next up, Peter Giorgio.
Good morning, my name's Peter Giorgio. I am a futsal and football referee.
Next up, we have Andy Braithwaite.
Thanks, Robin. My name's Andy Braithwaite. I'm a football referee, mentor and licensed observer.
Next, we have Leo Donnellan.
Good morning, my name is Leo Donnellan. I'm an ex-professional football player, having been with Chelsea, Fulham and Leyton Orient.
Next up, it's Kieran Fitzgibbon.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fitzgibbon. I've played football for more than 30 years and I'm now a senior county referee.
And finally, Nigel Hicks.
My name is Nigel Hicks. I've been a Supply League referee for the best part of 30 years and experienced football administrator.
Matt, please could you justify your position?
Yes, we've got two players in shot. The player on the left, as we're looking at it, a player in green, is sort of static on the floor, arm is up, and I think he's just looking up towards the ball. I think the reason his arm's up is the player in red, I think, is coming in to head the ball. He's got his arms up, and I think he's just going to bring them back and head the ball that's coming straight at him. He looks a little off balance, but I do think he's coming up to head the ball. And I've cross-referenced the two eye lines, and I've put the centre ball where my red cross is.
Thanks, Matt. Peter, please could you justify your position?
Yes, we have the two players in shot, the one in red and one in green. Looks like the guy in red is favourite for the ball. His arms are ready to, he's balancing himself. I agree that he is slightly off balance. He may be I was just leaning back, or he could maybe leaning forward into it. He's got his eye line is looking straight at it. I believe the guy in green further away. Again, he's got a very good eye line as well to help where the centre of the ball is. I've got it. It looks, when I looked closely at the player in green, his eyes, even though his head's tilted slightly up, I actually thought that his eye line was slightly lower. So that's why I've got my cross closer to the guy in red, and that's where I place the centre of the ball.
Thanks, Peter. Andy, please could you justify your position?
Thanks, Robin. I'm the blue cross. The reason, well, I'll talk you through the two separate guys. The guy in red, I feel, is about to head the ball. As previously stated, the sort of angle of his left arm out, he's waiting to power through the ball. I've taken a pretty horizontal line with the length of his left arm and his eye line to give me the angle of where he's looking at. The guy in green, I feel, from the pitcher's point of view, he is slightly further back. Therefore, the angle that I've given his eye is looking much sort of higher than, I say much higher than my colleagues. He's looking into that space where my blue cross is. I just don't feel that it's any closer to the guy in red, A, because he is further back, and B, by the angle of his head. And you know, to me, it's just almost impossible to be looking closer to the guy's head to where he's looking. And that's why I've placed the centre of my ball where I have there.
Thanks, Andy. Leo, please could you justify your position?
Yes, Robin. Yeah, there's two players in shot. I took a lot from the player in green, a little bit like Andy just said. I think when I was looking at his eye, especially his right eye, you've got a good view, and to me, he's looking up, sort of slightly behind him, but looking quite upright. So I don't think he's looking as far forward towards the player in red. If you go to the player in red, he's going to win this header. He's unopposed. He's above the ground, so he's jumped. Also, I took a lot from his eye line because I believe he's looking kind of forward and not upright. So with his eye line and the player in green, I think the ball's coming into him, and that's why I put my cross there.
Thanks, Leo. Kieran, please could you justify your position?
Thanks, Robin. Yes, I'm more or less agreeing with all my colleagues. In my opinion, the player in red is going to go and win the ball as a header. He looks like he's going up, possibly leaning back a little bit, and that could be because the ball is perhaps a little higher than he at first anticipated. But he's going to win the ball uncontested. We haven't got any crowd or any of the players to take any judgment from. I think the player in green is looking in the direction of where the ball is coming in. I've taken the eye lines from both players and I placed my cross there.
Thanks, Kieran. Finally, Nigel, please could you justify your position?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, similar to my colleagues, obviously we've got three eyes we can see. Certainly the player in green, we've got a fairly clear view of his eye line. The player in red haven't got such a great view of his eyes from there. To my mind, I was thinking that he may have even just headed the ball. He's certainly leaning back as though he's anticipating it dropping slightly above him. So the player in green, I feel pretty much looking out at 90 degrees from the angle of his face. And the player in red, I get the feeling the ball's much nearer to him than that, based on that green eye line. So that's why I put my cross where I have.
Thanks, judges. Matt, as the main judge, could you now come to a panel decision with the other 5 judges? And for your reference, the larger white cross is the calculated average of the 6 individual selections.
Okay, morning, guys. As usual, put in some lines. We've got quite a thin spread from the guy in red, which I'll put in from the same eye. So that's quite a thin spread. And then I'll choose a different color, this guy in green. Okay, so from what I remember, basically we all think the player in red is either going to head the ball or, as Nigel I think said, has just headed the ball. One of the reasons I didn't think it actually headed the ball is because of the way his body's leaning back, and I think he's just coming in to head the ball with his arms up. And obviously, you know, it's an awkward position, so I suppose he could have just completely misjudged it. As Kieran said, I think that he could be stumbling back and the ball may be slightly higher, so he's sort of jumping back to flick a ball on or something, which we all know is possible. I personally didn't think this player here was looking this low, just from looking at his eye. I mean, his pupil's pretty centered on in its socket, and this one here. I'm obviously near in the middle of us all, and we're spread for sort of 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and Kieran and myself in the middle. But anything, I mean, Leo, you're the furthest out to the left in the shot. And personally, I think that the sort of the view where we have myself, Andy, Kieran, and myself is a better trajectory from this guy's in the green eye, in the green. But any further thoughts?
Yeah, like you just said there, Matt, I think the player in green is looking in that direction. I took quite a lot from him, even though I think the player in red's going to hit the ball. I think the player in red is sort of tilted to his left. I think he's sort of going to hang in the air for a second or two at the most. And yeah, so my cross is still above the player in red. You know, he's still jumping to get to it, but it's more in line with the player in green.
Yeah. And Andy, you're at the top just by a little bit. Sort of, you're roughly in line with Leo's, but just a bit further away.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I've taken a hell of a lot from the guy in green, and I feel, as I said, that he is just slightly further away from the camera. He's obviously not going to head the ball or anything like that, but he's looking intent at the ball. He's coming in. The guy in red is, as I think we've all agreed, I think he's about to power through. The reason he's leaning backwards, or looks like he's leaning backwards in a still shot, is that he's about to power his head through the ball. So it's coming in at a pace, and he's just literally pulling himself through to head the ball. And as I say, with definitely the cross of the green, I've taken, that's what I've got my angle there.
Yeah,
it's the guy in green intently.
And then I think if I go to Nigel, you're the lowest with Peter on obviously opposite ends of the height really of this player. You thought he was looking on that lower trajectory.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I just couldn't see him looking higher than that. But clearly, I am at the lowest edge, just slightly. But I mean, it kind of depends what part of the ball he's looking at, but whether he's looking straight through the centre of it or not, I guess. But I felt that generally people tend, unless they're looking to get the ball onto their head, they tend to be looking at roughly 90 degrees from from the angle of their face. So
yeah, I mean, did you think he'd headed the ball?
Yes, I did think he'd probably headed it already, but and I think the green's kind of waiting for the ball to drop. From that was how they envisaged it.
Yeah, because my only view on that would be if he had headed it, that the player in green would be more likely to be looking at the player in red.
Yeah, possibly.
Because that's where the ball would come from. Because obviously when you head it, it'll come off, well, most of the time pretty quick. But that's just again, a personal opinion.
Yeah, although as you're leaning back, sometimes you tend, it'll head it up rather than down. So
fair point. Peter?
Yeah, I just didn't think looking at the player in green, he was looking that high. I know his head slightly tilted, but I thought that his eye line was slightly lower. And then with the player in red just about to head the ball, I just thought it was closer to the player in red, which then justified my view that the player in green was looking slightly lower. So that's why I've put it where I have.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that the narrow angle that we've all got from the red is quite narrow area that we're all in. So it's really what we think about in regards to the green player, who is a distance away from the player in red.
Yeah. And Kieran, you're sort of with me in the middle here.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to everybody else's discussion, and I can see where they're coming from. I can see the possibilities of each of those being where the ball could be. I don't think any of them are out of range particularly. It all depends on where the player in green is. If he's further back, there is a narrower range as he's looking from there. It's difficult to know exactly where the ball is in terms of the player in red. It looks like obviously he's going to, I think, win the ball, but obviously he's going to head the ball or has headed the ball. I'm personally happy where we've got it at the moment as the average, and I think the other ones on the outskirts are within a plausible range. But I can't see any of them that I would say no, I don't think that's right. I think that shouldn't be there. I think there are possibilities, but I think I prefer where the average, or somewhere near where the average is now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, personally, where the average is suits my selection. I mean, it's difficult when you've got two outliers, or not outliers from the average. There's two lower ones and two higher ones, and if we do take individuals out, it doesn't particularly move an awful lot. And we certainly can't take four choices out. It wouldn't be a panel decision then. Does anybody want to see the average with anybody removed and any specific reason for the removal?
I'm quite happy where that the average is at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with Kieran. I think I don't think any of them are implausible, but I think where it sits looks very credible.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're all happy, as a panel, we'll judge at the average shown on the screen with all 6 of our choices creating that average. So we're all happy with that?
Happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Robin, we're ready to judge at the average.
Great, thank you,
which
Matt.
I've selected.
Thanks, Matt. If you're happy with that, please could you now hit submit. The coordinates selected are 1826889. These coordinates will now be passed to Wilkins Kennedy to calculate the winner of the competition, and they will then inform best of the best. That concludes the judging process. Thank you.